Good morning. Welcome to SP Streamer Live. I'm your host, Michael Simione. You can follow me on Twitter at SP Streamer. For today's show, we're going to go over through some DFS, 2 stars versus 1 stars, which we do every week. Obviously, we're going to go over streaming because that's just what we do. But for DFS, I mean, we brought on someone who runs, I feel like, several pods, right? Yep. And that is, you know what? This is why I have Doug host, because I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name before, Brian Entrekin.
It's not bad. That's close. It was close.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close. I've had it pronounced many ways. Entrekin, but I've heard the Entrekin. I've heard much worse. So you're very close.
All right. So I was close.
Yeah.
But you all might know him as Bubba. As obviously he has the very popular podcast Bench with Bubba. And before we really do anything, Bubba, so when I do these streams, I like to bring on some like graphics and stuff like that. And I Googled Bench with Bubba, right? Because I wanted to get your logo, because I like to throw up the logo and then have like, at least while we're talking, whatever. So I found this picture on Google.
Oh no. Oh yeah, that was old school.
When was this? I think it was before my time. I feel like I kind of remember seeing it before, like when I first started, but don't exactly remember.
That's when the audio quality sucked. That's when I didn't know what I was doing. That's when, that was, wow, that's a throwback right there. That was the original one. I didn't know how to do anything on Photoshop. So I said, hey, can someone put something for my podcast here? And they did that. I'm like, yep, here we go. Episode 1 with that. Look how far we've gone.
That is so funny. Where is that?
That's at the dugout at Oracle Park now. They do a fan fest every year, and one of my friends, they run one of the booths there. So I quote unquote helped them unload their vehicle, and then I get to like roam the park for like an hour before everybody. So I was just in the dugout doing things and just checking things out, going to the locker room and stuff, and before all the people show up.
Oh, I love his picture. It's amazing. That's what happens when you Google Bench with Bubba and like symbol.
I'm terrified. I've never even Googled it. Now I'm terrified to know what else is out there, because I know people go to my Facebook page. My college stuff will make people laugh. So like I was expecting something much worse than that, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really? I didn't find anything worse than that. But
good.
So I mean, this is the actual logo, right?
That's the new one. Yeah, that's I think that's logo 3 now as we get rolling through that one. But yeah,
I went through a few too. I went through a few for SP Streamer before I got this one.
Yeah, you guys got a slick one going there. I believe we use the same lovely individual. So yes.
Nice. We got David Mendelson commenting in here. I download Twitch just to comment on this video collab. This awesome collab. Yeah, I'm gonna beat him in Super Smash one day. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, we want to talk DFS. I feel like I was trying to. I feel like you run a couple podcasts, right?
Yeah, I've done.
Okay, so what are those? Plug those in.
I do my solo podcast, MLB DFS Quick Hits. I've done that for 4 or 5 years now, Monday through Friday, just to run through the main slate. Just kind of giving my initial thoughts. It's a first look podcast. Kind of, these are the pitchers I'm targeting. These are the bats I like. These are kind of the value plays, so on and so forth. And then last year I started it with Joe Pisapia. Now I'm doing it with Scott Bogman, the Line Star MLB DFS show, the On Deck DFS show. And we run through FanDuel and DraftKings. We go game by game on that one. I go position by position on the other one. Gives you 2 different ways to go check out and get ready for the day slate.
Awesome. All right. So when you play DFS, what do you prefer between GPP and cash games?
I like cash games a lot if you just want to slowly build your role, but the more and more that rake changes these days, and to be sustainable, I prefer my GPPs, but you have to have the mindset in like you're playing the lotto. There's literally like it's anywhere from 20 to 25% on a good day. It's usually like 20 to 23% of the people win. So there's like 77% of people that are not winning today. So you have to know that going into it. Right. The odds are not in your favor to win.
Yeah, not at all. Okay. All right. So do you even do DFS football?
Yes. I used to do a DFS podcast for football with James McCool, who's one of the smartest DFS people in the world. But I had to put that on hold once the little one came along. There's a little too much going on in the life that
I'm sure.
I went baseball strictly at that point in time. But this year I will be doing it with Line Star Bogman, and I will be doing the football show for them also. So we'll have you taken care of there. And I love football DFS because if anything, it's just basically 1 day a week.
Yeah. So, I mean, besides that, what's like the difference between baseball and football? And do you think one is harder than the other?
I would say baseball's 100% harder than the other. Basketball, to me, they're all hard, but basketball's the easiest. But football, football, at least you can kind of go into it going, okay, this defense is good versus, the wide receiver one, but not versus the slot or something. Like, these things going into it. An offense's tendency is, we're going to give the running back 20 to 25 touches. So you can kind of game plan for those, especially in cash. In baseball, you're good if you go 1 for 4. And you have to hope that one is a home run. If it's a single, you get 3 points. A home run, you get 14 plus. So you're kind of playing that game in your head. There's so much more variance in baseball. And as you know, streaming pitchers, you can do everything right to check every possible box, and then baseball happens. And
exactly.
It just doesn't matter. Or at least in football, barring an injury or just some unforeseen weirdness, you're going to get kind of a game script you can kind of work with, which helps a lot more.
Gotcha. And what do you think is like the biggest mistake newcomers make, like when they start DFS? I tried to get into it last year. I actually talked about Vlad Sedler about it a little bit. And like, kind of like you said, I mean, it was so frustrating for me. I ended up being okay. Like, I ended up just like breaking even essentially for the entire season. So like, I basically wasted all my time for nothing. But but it was so frustrating and hard for me because I felt like it was just like guessing which offense goes off essentially. I mean, like, I don't know. What do you think? Someone new coming into it, what's like a good piece of advice for them? I guess I'm asking.
Have low expectations.
I think so.
Literally, I do it because I enjoy doing it. Do it with money you have to use. Like that, I think the biggest mistake people do is they come in thinking they're going to win like $100,000 right away. So they go play in these big tournaments that are worth a lot of money, and they just get smoked, and then they think it's the worst sport on the planet because they've lost all their money. It's like going to a casino with like $200 and playing $25 hands of blackjack and realizing you're gone in like 5 minutes. Like, it's just the process. You have to kind of plan it a little better. So like in my Slack chat that I have, I told guys, let's do a bankroll challenge. Just play the quarter arcade. It's 20 max. It's $5 a day. Or go play the dime for 20 max. It's like $2.50 a day or something. $2 a day, whatever it is. Just keep it simple. Keep it like, don't go crazy. Learn how to play the game. Have some fun playing the game. Maybe you'll make some money along the way. But like to be the big winners, you got to play in the big money tournaments, and that's going to get very, very expensive if you don't have the bankroll for it.
Yeah, start cheap and then just kind of
there's no shame.
See how you do first, and like like perfect your method.
Yeah.
I had John MLB Moving Averages on last week, and we're talking about betting, and he was saying, which I think is good advice for anything, including DFS. He's like, when you do it, he's like, do it on paper first. Don't even put up money and just see how you do. I mean, in DFS, you could do like, the 25-cent ones, whatever.
There's free contests. There's free contests.
Free, right.
Yeah.
And just like perfect your method first to where you think you'll be profitable, and then actually start putting money into it.
Yep.
So I think that's good advice. All right. So like I said, I mean, personally, I felt like it was really trying to guess which offenses are going to go off, which of course, I mean, if you want to do stacks, all that kind of stuff. So what are some key factors or stats or whatever? What is something that you look at when you try and determine what offenses you think can like perform well on that given night?
So this is where it gets fun, because there's a lot of very, very smart people that use these things called models to figure things out, and they do all that kind of stuff.
Algorithms.
Yes. I say I'm benched with Bubba, even with my season long. I'm more like a caveman where I just I watch games. I look at the basic stats. As a ball player for a long time, you kind of know, like, there's hot streaks, guys getting in grooves and whatnot. So one thing I look at a lot is splits. That's very, very important, especially splits. Like, and don't look season long. Once you get a decent sample, I try to narrow things down to like 2 to 4 week examples, because guys go through waves like that. And there's certain teams that just hit lefties better or righties better, or the pitcher they're facing, you have some exposure to there, and go that route. Like, there's always the easy, let's go to Coors Field. Like, that's Captain Obvious stuff. But even on Friday night, it's like, okay, Fulton Evich is facing the Dodgers. Like, hello, people. And the Dodgers are very low owned on Friday night. It made no sense to me at all. Like, you got Kyle Freeland in Cincinnati, give me the Reds in Great American Small Park. Little things like that. Look at those kind of advantages you can take, because with baseball, either cracking down on spin rate or whatever they're going to do, but offense, as things heat up, are getting going of late. So there's a lot of offense now. So you got to kind of narrow it down the best you can. And so we try to look at angles that you can exploit even with like the cheaper plays in the lineup.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it is the smaller things too. Like again, I talked with Vlad Sedler like in depth when I was trying to get into it, and he like hit big one night, and he said it was basically just like, one of his players went off, and he was just like, I had one spot left, and he was like, oh, this guy's facing a rookie pitcher, makes sense, and like went with him, and then he went off. So like sometimes that kind of stuff works. All right. What about pitchers? I mean, what's your method on deciding on what pitcher to take? Do you like to always try and split ace and like a lower owned, or do you like to go two middle of the pack pitchers? I mean, I'm sure you probably change it up, but yeah. I mean, how do you make your decisions when going, picking who to start?
More often than not, it's usually like a high price guy, like a mid price. Like Friday night, it was give me DeGrom and Shohei Ohtani because DraftKings just can't price Shohei Ohtani properly. It just blows my mind. Or Tyler Mahle was priced affordable as well. But, a couple nights ago, I paid for two high-priced guys. Even before that, I did the night Mize and Gomber went. I played both of them and had every bat on the face of the planet because they were so cheap. It definitely dictates a slate by slate. But, again, it's almost like when you pick your offenses, you look for struggling offenses to target like you do with your streamers. But also when it comes to DFS, you can have your guys give up some runs if they're big-time strikeout guys and big-time strikeout matchups. That's a big, big part of it is strikeouts are worth a good amount of points in the end of things. That's why even DeGrom went 6 innings on Friday night, but he struck out like 12 or 13, and he put up like 30-something points. Like it's astronomical what he's doing, and that's worth every penny, even though he's expensive. So it's little things like that. Some people go, oh, he costs too much, or oh, blah, 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 or he's going to get shelled. And it's like if the guy's $6,000 and he gives up 4 runs but goes 5 or 6 and strikes out 6 or 7, he's going to pay off for you. So you got to kind of get the mindset out of your head that it's not season long where he's going to destroy your ERA. We don't care about ERA. We want strikeouts and points.
Okay. All right. So you aim for high strikeout guys.
High strikeouts is a very good starting point. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. All right. Well, that does it for a little DFS section. Obviously, now we got to get into streaming because that's what we do. We're going to talk about, we've done this past couple weeks. We're going to look at a streamer as 2 starts against someone who might be in your rotation on a consistent basis, and they have 1 start, and who we would prefer between the 2. So our first little matchup here is Austin Gomber against Ian Anderson. Gomber he's at home for both starts against the Padres and the Brewers. And then Ian Anderson faces Boston, who they've been struggling as of late, but we know they could be a really explosive offense. So, Bubba, if you had to pick between these 2 for your team in a weekly format, who would you go with?
It's so tough because I've been using Gomber everywhere lately. He's actually pitched good at home too, which is scary. But I'm not going up. I know he's dominated San Diego, I think twice, at least in Colorado for sure. I'm going to go with Ian Anderson. We saw some flashes in his last start where he looked much, much better against Philadelphia. This Boston team, they can click, but they're also very, very sketchy at times. And at home, I'll take Ian Anderson in this one, and I'm avoiding the potential 2-start Coors week with Gomber just for my sanity.
Yeah, I mean, like Gomber's been great. If it was like 1 start in Coors, I would debate it. This. Yeah. But 2 in Coors, I feel like you're just tempting fate there.
Exactly. But eventually, it's going to turn up heads, right? Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Right. Exactly. But man, he's been so good. I mean, he's using the breaking balls more. He's just been fantastic since that blow up, since everyone made fun of him and said I got Gombered. Which I wonder if he saw that, but I'd have to go Ian Anderson too. He's always solid. Like I said, Boston can be really good, but they've been struggling. So I think I'd rather just take the Ian Anderson start because I feel like Gomber, you're looking at two bad starts, potentially with probably at least 1 bad start. But now that we said that, Bubba, he's going to throw 2 gems, right?
Probably. Most likely he'll be on my bench and I'll just watch it happen going, I could use those strikeouts or something.
He's definitely going to be like dominant in his next start. All right. Next one we got, it's Tyler Anderson versus Kyle Hendricks. Tyler Anderson faces Washington and Cleveland, and then Kyle Hendricks faces the Mets. Who are you going to go here, Bubba?
This is actually pretty good because Washington, their offense has been so up and down this
year. Very
bad.
But
like Soto's starting to hit, so you're waiting for it to get going. But then you got Disco, who I love, obviously, but threw the shutout on Friday nights. You're like, And then you got Cleveland's offense, who's not good either. I think I'd roll the dice on Anderson on this one. It's very tricky because the Mets are horrible as well. Sorry, didn't mean to insult you, but
our offense hasn't been bad as of late.
Not of late. You're right. You're right. The polar bear's waking up, and so is Lindor. I'll take Tyler Anderson in this one, and I'll roll the dice because it's two mediocre offenses at best, probably two below average offenses here. So give me Tyler Anderson.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Tyler Anderson's been playing surprisingly well. And I feel like even if he has just two decent starts, it's going to give you a lot more than just a typical Kyle Hendricks start. He'll probably end up getting you more Ks, could probably get you around the same ERA and whip, and then you potentially get 2 wins. So I think it makes a lot of sense. All right, next one. A little more interesting. We got Patrick Corbin against Pitt and the Mets, and then we got Dylan Cease at Houston. What are you rolling with here, Bubba?
Well, you asked how I pick offenses in DFS. Well, usually if I see Patrick Corbin on the slate, I automatically make at least one stack in that direction because he's just shouldn't be. I had the discussion I had a debate the other day. Who's actually worse, Corbin or Lester? And Corbin might win that debate. It is that bad right now. It's close, but it's bad. It shouldn't be that close. I'll take Dylan Cease just for the fact I can't stomach Patrick Corbin. Like I know, Brian Hayes could take him deep 3 times for all we know. It's that true. Bad. Give me Dylan Cease against Houston, probably the hottest offense in baseball. I'd rather pitch neither, but give me Dylan Cease just because I can't Patrick Corbin. It's so ungodly bad right now.
I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to go with Corbin. Just because Pitt, Hayes is good, but Pitt has been so bad offensively. They are. I mean, Brian Reynolds has been really good as of late, but I feel like he can maybe get through that okay, and then I don't know, maybe gets lucky against the Mets. I'm just so afraid of Houston. That offense is insane. And if Cease doesn't have his command that day, he can let up like 6 to 8 runs easily, like get crushed. But he's been good. So I'll take my chance at the 2-star.
That's an ugly one. That's probably one of the better verses you could ever make. Cause that's just like, it's a really tough one is what it is. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to streamers now. All right, so I asked you, Bubba, to bring 1 or 2 of your own for this upcoming week. I see you brought 2. We'll start with one of yours first. So who is someone that you'd be targeting for this upcoming week to stream? I think Trevor Williams is an interesting one. He was pitching pretty well before he went on the IL with his appendicitis, so it wasn't an arm issue. It was nothing along those lines. If you watch him on social media, he's still upbeat and ready to roll. His last 4 starts in May, he gave up 2 runs or less in 3 of the 4 starts. He had 5 or more Ks in those starts. And he gets the Mets at New York, and then he gets the Miami Marlins, which they're kind of starting to hit the ball, but it's the Miami Marlins. Let's be real about it. So I'll take Trevor Williams in a 2-start week coming off the IL, and what should be some pretty decent matchups for him to rack up some counting stats for you.
All right, yeah, I kind of like that one. I didn't even know. Has he been back, or this will be his first start back?
This will be his first return back, I believe. Yes.
I was going to say I don't remember seeing his name pop up as of late. I like that. I did like him at the beginning of this year before he got hurt. So we'll kind of see what he does there. My pick is going to be Mike Minor against Detroit. I actually got we're going to watch some strikeouts here from him as I talk about him. So his last 6 starts, he has a 3.32 ERA, 3.60 FIP, a 1 WHIP. Basically what he's doing is using the changeup more. He's basically not throwing his slider instead of it, which is good because where he throws his slider, he's not getting a lot of whiffs in that location. So again, I really like that he's going to change it more. That's what made him have a really good season in 2019. So I think he's starting to move in the right direction finally. I was big on him coming into the season. The velocity is still not there, but clearly this is working, this pitch mix change. So I like him a lot. He's been on a roll. I know Detroit can be hot at times. I know they can hit lefties as well, but I think he should be able to handle them just fine. So he is my streaming pick for next week.
He looked awesome against Oakland his last time out. It looked really, really good.
Yeah, I know. I did not expect that either from him.
I did not. But Oakland, like with Kona and stuff, I expected a little bit of the pushback. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been so good. This is what I expected to see from him, coming into the season, but it just I don't know what made him go to the slider. I couldn't tell you. But I'm just glad that he realized it was a bad move and is now going to that change.
Wouldn't it be great if we could know what these pitchers think? Because like you do it, Pollock, all these really smart pitching minds go, just use this pitch more. And then they don't do it. And all of a sudden they switch like mid-season, like Scooble and all these guys. You're like, guys, it was this simple. Like if we can see it in our basements, basically, like what are you doing here?
I know. I mean, you have to. I just always assume they know stuff that we don't know.
Yeah, you'd hope.
And
so.
We think we're smart, but we literally are like really stupid compared to them. So they probably they know things better than us. All right, who is your next pitcher that you picked for next week?
This one's just a speculation one. If you want to have some fun with things, it's Sammy Long of the Giants made his debut a couple days ago in Texas. They had the opener go, and then he threw 4 innings. 7 Ks, looked absolutely dominant. The movement on his pitches, the pitch mix was great. In the minors, he had 37 Ks and 22 innings with a below 2 ERA. So he earned the promotion. And more importantly, he gets 2 starts at home, which is very, very nice. He gets Arizona, who can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. And then you got like literally just go look at their numbers. It's dreadful. And then you got Philadelphia, who they can be sneaky at times, obviously, but even their offense has been very, very quiet of late. So if you can get Sammy to get you, I just don't know how long they're going to work. So that's why it's a spec thing, a deeper league type thing. They might only try to keep him to 4 to 5 innings. You don't know how it's working.
Definitely not a quality start guy.
Exactly, not a quality start, but the strikeouts are legit. They're very, very good. He'll be pitching at home. I think if you need someone to kind of fill some of those innings we talk about with all the injuries, he could be a fun one. I wouldn't break the bank for him, though, because they're going to replace him when someone comes back. But could be a fun one for this week.
Yeah, I kind of broke him down on one of my morning live streams last week, and he was, what's crazy about his pitches is he has so much velocity difference between all 3 of them, and it just makes it really hard for hitters to catch up to him. I liked his placement, and I thought, which was pretty important to see, was like he did leave some pitches over the middle of the zone, but every pitcher does. But the key was when he did, like he was still getting whiffs on them. So like, and he wasn't giving up hard contact. I think only one of the balls that he left like in the middle of the zone was like, got it. Like there was 1 hit off of it. So like, I think it's just really good when you see pitchers throw in the middle of the zone and like hitters still can't hit it. Like, I think that just means that they have really good stuff. Because I always see like guys like Kershaw on them, like when they do that, like it still doesn't matter. And that's what's important. So I really like the Sammy Long call. I did add him in a league. I hope they don't replace him.
I don't either. I just have a feeling like when Webb comes back, or they want Beatty to start or something. Beatty's a ways away, but I have a feeling on the other side, though, imagine Cueto's going to find the IL at some point to some other guys. So Long might be longer than you think for this.
Plus, if he keeps pitching this way,
it's hard to
there's no way. There's no way they don't. They don't throw him. So. And plus, they're in the hunt. I mean, and they've been a nice, surprising team. You must be excited, Bubba.
It's been. I'm doing it with I'm keeping it cautious because I still know the Dodgers are winning the whole thing. So I'm not clueless there, but I'm enjoying it.
I heard on a podcast, and it was so true. And I was kind of saying the same thing, but like they are exactly like the Rays. They're becoming the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, with the way they
platoons and everything,
the platoons. But the way they develop their pitching staff, I mean, they like know what's happening. And I mean, if I was, like I feel like if you hear them sign a pitcher, like you're gonna want them more because they're clearly can develop them, So like anyone they sign in the future, like I want to be all over them.
Definitely. It's like the old days of if the Astros trade for a pitcher, go grab him.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to some hitter streamers before we go here. Bubba, I saw you brought 2. I only brought 1 once again. So start off with your first guy.
It kind of goes in the vein of the one you're talking about, but Brendan Rodgers, I was just using Yahoo for a waiver wire article, and he's very, very low owned right now. And it kind of surprised me because the kid had the prospect pedigree. It was just about playing time. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 8 games. He's homered in back-to-back games. They actually hit him second on Friday night, which is great to see. The big concern was he was only filling in for Trevor Story, where Story's back. I hate to break it to people. Rodgers is still playing. He is that talented, and as long as he keeps playing well, he's going to succeed. At worst, you get a full week of Coors Field coming up. And Rodgers, if they really keep him in the top of that order in Coors Field in those matchups, he's going to thrive. So he should be much higher owned, and I'd grab him everywhere you could. I think he's a good play for the rest of the season. But if you want to stream him for the week, Brendan Rodgers is one for me.
Yeah, like you said, I kind of went in the same area. My pick is Josh Fuentes. I mean, again, 7 games in Coors, can't really beat that. All 5 of his home runs this year have been at home. He's hit 330 at home. He has a high ISO, high WOBA, 122 WRC plus at home. Just plays a lot better when at home. So, he's lowly owned. I feel like if he's out there, it's a good play for this week as well. Basically, any Colorado Rockies hitter this week, as long as they could get decent playing time, could be a good play. All right, you brought one more, Bubba. Who's that?
Max Stassi. He is the catcher for the Angels. Came back from the IL on June 1st, and he's only hit 458 with 3 home runs and 3 doubles since then. He did this in previous seasons. Like, I had him in a lot of best ball leagues. The guy can just absolutely rake. He gets 4 left-handed pitchers out of the 7 games this week, so that also feeds into Stassi's success. So, and he is less than 10% owned in a lot of leagues still, in smaller leagues. So go grab some Max Stassi, at least for this week. Weirdly, catchers, I know you guys have articles for it. You can stream catchers. Stassi's a great one for it, so go grab him.
Yeah, he's got some nice power there. So I like that call. All right, that does it, Bubba. Let everyone know where they could follow you and where they could find you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at BD Entrek. Just come over there, and I tweet too much about a lot of things, so you'll get all the information there. The Bench with Bubba podcast, which Michael mentioned earlier, that's my bread and butter. So if you just do one thing of all my content, listen to that one. And Michael's been on there a few times. It's been fun chatting with him as always. And then if you have DFS, MLB DFS quick hits, and the Line Star on Deck DFS show. I also do golf podcasts. I do all kinds of stuff. So just follow me on Twitter. You'll get all the goods right there.
I think you need to change this to be like your banner or something on Twitter. I love it. I love it. It's amazing that I can't stop. When I found it, I was like dying.
The internet always wins. It never forgets, people. Always. It never forgets.
All right. Thanks for everyone who listened. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SP Streamer. Follow us on Twitch and YouTube if you can. And we will be back Monday morning. We'll do our typical streams in the morning throughout the whole week. I think Thursdays, though, we're going to start to do live on the bumps with Doug, and that's going to be on we're going to do those Thursday nights instead. So I might stop streaming Thursday morning, but I'll let you all know. So again, thanks for everyone watching, and I hope you all have a